Okay, good morning. Welcome everyone to our Planning Commission of February 4th, 2026. And we will start with our flag salute with Commissioner David Maddox.
All right, please rise and join us in the pledge. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I heard echoes there. That's awesome. And roll call.
Commissioner Hagel,
Here.
Commissioner Maddox,
Here?
Solis,
Here.
Watson,
Here.
and Chair Turley Trail.
Here.
All are present.
All right, thank you. Do we have any public comments on non-agendized items?
We do not have non-agenda item
Okay.
comments.
Then I'll go ahead to the consent calendar. All matters listed under consent calendar are considered to be routine, and all will be enacted by one vote. There will be no discussion of these items unless members of the commission request specific items be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. A total of 30 minutes is provided for members of the public to address the commission on items that appear on the consent calendar. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Public comments may be made in person at the meeting by submitting a speaker card to the commission secretary. Speaker cards will be called in the order received. Still images may be displayed on the projector. All other audio and visual use is prohibited. Public comments may also be submitted by email for inclusion into the record. Email comments must be received prior to 10 a.m. and submitted to planningcommission@temeculaca.gov. All public participation is governed by council policy regarding public participation at meetings adopted by resolution number 2021-54. And our first item on the consent calendar is to approve the action minutes of January 7th, 2026.
I'll move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
All right, we've got 2 seconds. We got Bob,
I'll defer.
who said it first?
I'll defer.
All right, so we have Bob on a motion and David on a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Public hearing. Any person may submit written comments to the commission before a public hearing or may appear and be heard in support of or in opposition to the approval of the projects at the time of the hearing. If you challenge any of the projects in court, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at the public hearing or in written correspondence delivered to the commission secretary at or prior to the public hearing. For public hearings, each speaker is limited to 5 minutes. Public comments may be made in person at the meeting by submitting a speaker card to the commission secretary or by submitting an email to be included into the record. Email comments must be submitted to planningcommission@temeculaca.gov. Email comments on all matters, including those not on the agenda, must be received prior to the time the item is called for public comments. Any person dissatisfied with the decision of the commission may file an appeal of the commission's decision. Said appeal must be filed within 15 calendar days after service of written notice of the decision. The appeal must be filed on the appropriate Community Development Department form and be accompanied by the appropriate filing fee. All public participation is governed by the council policy regarding public participation at meetings adopted by resolution number 2021-54. So item number 2 on our public hearing is continued from the Planning Commission meetings of October 15th, 2025, November 19th, 2025, and January 7th, 2026. Planning application numbers PA 23-0327, an amendment to the Red Hawk specific plan to allow a wedding and special event center associated with the golf course and add related standards for those uses. PA 23-0251, a conditional use permit to allow a wedding event center to be operated as part of the existing golf course between the hours of noon and 9 p.m., no more than 3 days per week. The project is located at 45-100 Temecula Parkway within the Red Hawk specific plan. And before we go to staff, we're going to have our attorney, Maricela introduce this to us?
Thank you. So before we do go into the staff presentation, we need to first deal with the conflict of interest issue. The personal residences of Commissioners Turley Trejo, Commissioner Watson, and Commissioner Maddox they're all located within the Red Hawk specific plan area. Specifically, Commissioner Turley Trejo's property is located within 170 feet of the nearest property line of the golf course and approximately 2,378 feet from the outdoor pavilion. Commissioner Watson's property is located within 735 feet from the property line of the golf course, and approximately 1,864 feet from the outdoor pavilion. And Commissioner Maddox's property directly abuts the golf course and is located approximately 4,800 feet from the outdoor pavilion. So Commissioner Turley Trejo and Commissioner Maddox may not participate in the Planning Commission's decision pertaining to the specific plan amendment and conditional use permit application pursuant to Section 18702.2A7 of the FPPC regulations because the Planning Commission's action involves property located 500 feet or less from the property line of the parcel where the pavilion is located. And there's not clear and convincing evidence that the decision will not have a measurable impact on their properties. Commissioner Watson may not participate in the Planning Commission's decision pertaining to the specific plan amendment and conditional use application pursuant to Section 18702.288 of the FPPC regulations because the Planning Commission's action involves property located between 500 and 1,000 feet from the property line of where the pavilion is located, and the project could impact the character of the neighborhood by substantially altering the intensity of use or noise levels. Now, I should note that when we talk about altering intensity, use, or noise levels, that could be in either a positive or a negative way. Since the Temecula Planning Commission has 5 members, 3 affirmative votes are needed to adopt a resolution recommending to the City Council to approve a specific plan amendment. In addition, we would need three members to have quorum to even hear the item. In the event a potential conflict of interest will prevent a legislative body from achieving quorum for the purposes of transacting business, Section 18705 of the FPPC regulations specifically authorize the random selection of one or more members of a legislative body that would have a financial interest in a decision to participate in that decision if necessary to achieve a quorum of the legislative body. And because real property is implicated, that is considered a financial interest in the decision. Therefore, in order to achieve a quorum of 3 members of the Planning Commission, it is necessary for the Commission Secretary to randomly select either Commissioner Turley Trejo, Commissioner Watson, or Commissioner Maddox to achieve the required quorum. The following procedure that I'm going to outline now, which was also identified in the supplemental agenda report, have been found by decisions of the FPPC to meet the requirements of Section 18705 of the regulations for the random selection process of planning commissioners to achieve a quorum. So we're going to obviously have this random selection process now prior to the consideration at a regular Planning Commission meeting. The supplemental agenda report that was issued includes a description of the nature of the economic interests of the members involved, the real property interests of the members involved, and a description of the circumstances in which the conflict might arise and the legal necessity of achieving a quorum to act on this matter as required by Section 18705. The Commission Secretary, this is the next step will be he will stand in front of the public audience and with the assistance of the Assistant Community Development Director, as a witness, will place the names of the commissioners into a clear bowl, and he'll explain the process of what he goes through to make sure that it is truly a random selection process. He will then draw one name of one of the 3 commissioners will be randomly selected to participate in the matter, and they will, whoever's name is selected will be allowed to participate in all actions related to the proposed Red Hawk specific plan amendment and conditional use permit application. This will all get recorded in the official minutes of the Planning Commission, as well as a description of the process that was employed to do this random selection. And now I'll turn it over to the Commission's Secretary.
All right, I'm going to stand for this. So I'll commence with the random selection. So I have a clear glass jar, and I have 3 name tags. The first is Commissioner Maddox. The second is Commissioner Turley Trejo. And the third is Commissioner Watson.
Do we need a drum roll?
Almost. So all 3 name tags have been folded into equal parts and deposited into the jar. I will now shake the jar. Think it's good enough? All right. And I will select a name tag without looking. 2 name tags remain. And the winner is Chair Turley Trejo. So you'll be allowed to remain. The other commissioners will have to recuse themselves.
And just for the record, I know we went over this, but Commissioner Watson and Commissioner Maddox will now need to recuse themselves because they have a conflict of interest as a result of real property located within the Red Hawk specific plan area.
See you guys later. Okay, Eric, staff report, please.
Okay, thank you. Planning applications PA 23-0327 and PA 23-0251 are collectively known as the Red Hawk Wedding and Event Center. PA 23-0327 is a specific plan amendment that will allow a wedding and special event center to be associated with the golf course and also add a few related standards for those uses in the specific plan. 0251 is a conditional use permit that will allow the wedding and event center to be operated as part of the existing golf course with hours of from noon to 9 p.m., no more than 3 days per week. Here we have the project site before you. Obviously, the Red Hawk Golf Course consists of a few large parcels. The one that we're dealing with today is here outlined in red, and it's about 100 acres. But to get a little more detailed, we're just really talking about the green circled area here you see before you. And to drill down even further, that little star right there represents where the events and weddings are proposed to take place in their existing pavilion. We'll take a look at the site plan here. It's important to note that as part of this application or this project, there are no physical changes to the site proposed. It'll all remain as is. So let's take a look and see what they have here. So here we have the administration building, lined in red. This is their existing restaurant/cantina. They have a maintenance building to take care of golf course equipment maintenance. They have a pro shop. And then finally, this right here is that existing pavilion where they propose to have the events. And as we all know, the site is surrounded by existing homes. They're showing those there. So with regard to the specific plan amendment, currently the Red Hawk specific plan shows the golf course in planning area 36. And it allows the golf course and allows things that are associated with golf courses right now, like clubhouses, restaurants, pro shops, all that type of stuff. But there are no provisions for non-golf related uses. If approved, the specific plan will allow for a wedding event and also allow for things like anniversary parties, birthday parties, things like that, in addition to weddings. We'll take a look at the language that's going to go into the specific plan next if approved. So the way you read this is basically everything, what's underlined is what would be new. So the golf course obviously is going to consist of its 18 holes in the clubhouse. This is, again, the language that's already in the specific plan. But it's going to be amended to allow for that covered pavilion to host not only golf events, but also wedding facilities. And it's also going to state that the wedding facility does require a CUP, and that facility can also host other events. And some of those are listed here on the slide, things like birthdays, anniversaries, corporate functions, community events. And community events is really designed to be kind of a catch-all of any other type of event somebody could want to propose. There's also a provision that says the community development director can make a consistency determination if something is proposed that just doesn't seem to kind of be in the same type of vein of those uses that we have listed there. A few more changes. Items A, B, and C are going to remain, but then items D and E, we're adding in some parking requirements for this facility. And those are listed right there. With regard to the conditional use permit, if approved, events and weddings are allowed no more than 3 days a week between 12 and 9 p.m. And this is a reduction from what originally was proposed by the applicant. Originally, they wanted to have the opportunity to have events 7 days a week from 3 to 10 p.m. The applicant, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but the applicant did hold some community meetings, and that's where the changes came from, was after interacting with the public. Also, it's important to note that the number of persons there on site is being reduced down to 130. Right now, when the pavilion was approved, it allowed 144, but now it's being taken down a few to 130 people. Also, staff reached out to California Alcoholic Beverage Control, because with events and weddings, you do have alcohol. How's all that going to be handled? ABC indicated to staff that the existing Type 47 license that they have is appropriate for this project and would be applied to this particular use. ABC also stated that the restaurant they have on site does not need to hold the same hours as the events. Now, whenever you have a project like this next to residential, you want to make sure you pay special attention to the noise, what's going on there. So what staff did, as part of this project, we did a mitigated negative declaration, an MND, and it did require some mitigation for noise. We'll go through those now. First off, the speaker location has to be limited to the southeast corner of the pavilion. And what does that look like? We'll pull up the site plan here again. Right there, that arrow is there in the southwest corner of the pavilion, and that's where the speakers need to be. And if you zoom in a little bit more, right there, that second arrow, that's just a zoomed in view of the kind of the open floor plan, if you will, of the pavilion, showing where any speakers need to be located. The mitigation goes on to say that amplified speakers must be limited to a maximum of 84 decibels at a distance of 50 feet in order to meet the noise requirement. What that basically means is that if at 50 feet the decibels are at 84 decibels, by the time the noise gets to the residents, then it has met the city requirement. Well, how do you make sure that that's happening? So the mitigation goes on to say that during events, golf course representatives or event coordinator, they must complete a noise measurement at 50 feet downstream from the noise, and they have to maintain a logbook for 90 days. And what that does is it gives staff the opportunity that if, let's say, code gets a complaint saying, hey, there was loud noise last night, et cetera, code can head over there, ask to look at that logbook, and they can see what the decibel reading was at the certain times during the event. In order to come up with these requirements, Kimley Horn, who did the MND, had to do a noise study. And they can explain it much more eloquently than I can, but I'll just kind of give you the gist of what's going on here. So you can see below the green and the yellow and whatnot, you can see the aerial of the residence there. And you can also see kind of that hot pink right there in the middle of the deep red. That's where the noise would be emanating from. Now that blue line that's kind of circling there, that represents 65 decibels. That's a city requirement. So according to that noise study, it doesn't quite get to the homes. Now what I did, it's tough to see all those little numbers all over the place. Those are different decibel readings, so I just kind of blew up the ones that are closest as far as the residents are concerned. And then you can see that by the time it gets to the homes, we're not at 65 decibels, which again is a city requirement. Public engagement, the applicant did reach out to the community and hold 2 public engagement meetings. First was in October of 2024, and then February of last year. Staff was in attendance for both of these meetings just to listen and kind of see what the discussions were. And they were productive. The applicant made several changes related to the hours and the frequency because of these meetings. And that goes back to when I was explaining earlier that They originally wanted to be 7 days a week, going till 10 o'clock, but they backed that off to 3 days a week, going till 9 o'clock. Now, because of the issues we have with the quorum and whatnot, we did grant a temporary use permit for the applicant. We did that back in November of last year to let them have some events. But it's important to note that the mitigation that I just described, we made sure that was part of the temporary use permit, so they had to abide by all of those items. We have received some public correspondence ourselves. We did receive five emails voicing opposition to the project. One of them was in the hearing packet because we got it a long time ago, back when this was first supposed to go to hearing. And the other four are on the dais for you to take a look at. Two of those emails are from the same individual, so just keep note of that. We also did receive one email supporting the project if certain requests are accepted, and that's there on the dais for you to take a look at. And then if you recall, back in October, when this was first supposed to go to hearing, we did have somebody come up and speak, and they spoke in opposition to the project. From a secret perspective, as I mentioned, we did an MND. It was prepared in accordance to all secret requirements. The MND did identify noise, needing to have some mitigation. I've already discussed that. And then based on the information just presented, staff recommends the Planning Commission recommend that the City Council approve the project based on the findings and recommended conditions of approval, as well as the mitigation I've just described. This concludes our presentation. I'm available for questions. We have the applicant's team if you'd like to talk to them, and then we also have Kimley Horn and their noise representative if you have more detailed technical questions on that type of stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Eric. I will start on my left here with Fernando. Do you have questions of staff?
Yeah, I have one question. When the temporary permit was given, was that when the noise study was produced?
No, the temporary use permit was done back in November. The noise study was done when Kimley Horn was doing the MND, and they can provide greater detail on this, but basically they went when there was a golf-related event going out there, so they had folks doing things, and they went out there and took their measurements during an actual event that was happening.
Okay.
So they weren't just using a model to kind of guesstimate the numbers. They actually went out there when an event was occurring.
Okay, and then that temporary permit that was given for them to do this special event, how long was that permit for?
That goes till the 28th of this month. We would have to extend it. We quite honestly didn't expect the Fair Political Practices Commission to take as long as they did. So we're a little bit, got to work on that.
And then when was the permit given?
November 14th.
So it was only 6 months?
Just a few months.
Okay.
Yeah, because we thought we would get through the FPPC faster than we did.
And then the Type 47, is that beer and wine or is that alcohol?
That's full.
Full, okay, got it. I think that's it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bob?
Just to follow up on the noise study, did you say that it was done with live music?
They were having an event there. I would actually like them to come. They did have live music going on there.
Okay.
They did.
Do you know if that live music included tones that are high-pitched as well as low-pitched tones?
I would bring up Kimley Horn for that. I just
Yeah.
know the decibel reading numbers, but they could speak more eloquently to that.
Okay. That's it for now.
Okay. Eric, can you go back to the slide showing I think it was like the second slide. I should have remembered the number, if there was a number. That's showing the residents
Sure.
around.
Oh, whoops, sorry.
No, yeah, not that one.
Apologize. There it is.
Okay, so, all right. So, do you have a distance on, like, maybe the noise level, maybe that slide would show that. Do you have a distance from
Yeah,
the
I have it.
nearest?
Yep. Give me 1 second, please. Right there.
Okay. Okay. So the closest would be 325 feet?
Give or take a few feet.
Right, okay. Okay. Let's see. I think my other questions are for the applicant. So you were saying the temporary permit was given to them in November, temporary CUP,
Just a TUP. yeah.
TUP, yeah. November, and then it ends this month.
28th, yes.
Correct? And how many events did they have in that time?
They had 3.
They had 3. Okay, okay. So I probably have questions for the applicant then. Any other questions of staff at this time? Fernando?
Yeah, I have one more.
Okay.
Can you go back to that map? Is there, it looks like it's really well landscaped around that area, is that correct?
Yeah, yes, it is. And it also slopes. That,
And it's also at a lower?
yeah, the event pavilion, when you're at the event pavilion and you're looking to the west, you look up.
Yeah, so it's at a lower grade?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have pictures of the area where this would happen?
I don't have pictures of it, no.
Okay,
No.
it's okay, I'll get them. Thank you.
Any other questions of staff? Okay. All right. And the hearing's already been opened, correct? So I don't need to do anything with that. So we would like to invite the applicant up, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair,
Hi.
members of the commission, staff. My name's Matthew Fagan, and I am the applicant's representative. He won't be here today. He's got some health things going on. His name's Randy Wood, so apparently we do have a Randy Wood here in attendance, but he's not the one. Anyway, we're glad to be here. We thank you for your time. It's been a while getting here, just due to legal technicalities of the quorum. We really appreciate the work that staff has done with us. What a wonderful staff to work with. Very thorough, very professional. And so here we are, after meeting all the requirements of CEQA, of the city's codes, and looking for your approval, your recommendation to the city council, as we feel that all the issues have been addressed. The applicant wants to continue to be a good neighbor. We realize that there are issues that are particular to a golf course. We also realize that there are issues that are particular to entertainment venues. We also realize that when this particular use was approved way back when, I don't even think Red Hawk was part of the city. It was in the county. And, again, just over time, over 30 years or 40 years, we all realize that things change. And so now to make golf courses more competitive and viable, they offer an array of opportunities. It's a beautiful site. I do believe that a lot of people go down and take pictures down there for proms and weddings and all kinds of stuff. I really don't want to belabor the point. We're looking again for your approval. We agree with all the conditions of approval, with all the mitigation. And so today in attendance with me is Kim Ronhavdi, who's the marketing manager and the assistant to the general manager at the Red Hawk Golf Course. And also we have Robbie Snyder, who's the events coordinator. And I think for any technical questions that you may have as it pertains to noise or how the project is being used and what was experienced at those 3 particular events once the temporary use permit was issued, I think that they would be best equipped to answer those questions. I personally will just help them facilitate in getting to the point and answer any questions that the commission may have or the staff may have. So I think I covered everything that I want to cover, and again, we're just glad to be here and we're looking for your support.
Okay, thank you. All right, Bob, do you have questions of the applicant? And maybe do you want Mr.
Yes, I have
Snyder to
questions.
come up?
I
He's
think
over the
actually both
events.
of them probably should stay up.
Okay. Is it right if we all 3 stay up here?
Yeah.
Sure.
I can kick them onto the table
So
and see something, right?
first, I'd like to ask you, who selects and hires a band or DJ?
It's really kind of contingent on the event, but I would be the one to oversee everything to make sure of who's brought in.
But it's possible that your guest is the one who's selecting and hiring?
So in that In that process, we actually, because of the strict requirements that we have, we do require of all of any guests that we have that their performer that's going to come in, or DJ or anything like that, has to come in on a non-event day to do a sound check with us. And when we do that, we go through our sound check protocols that I have implemented in to ensure that they stay within the bounds of that. And then contractually with those guests, if we have it very detailed written in our contract with them, that because we do checks throughout the entire event, with logbooks and stuff like that, and we use these sound meters and we do various spots around the property to ensure that we are sticking to the requirements set by that. And it is strictly written in our contract with our clients that if their outside DJ or band were to go over that, we have the authority to immediately unplug them and prevent the sound from going on, to make sure that we are remaining a good neighbor and keeping to the provisions provided.
Okay. Walk me through the 3 events that you've had since then. Which one of those events was the sound survey done?
Those 3 events, that's not the ones the sound survey.
It was done prior to that?
It was done prior. It was done prior to those 3 events.
Okay. From the 3 events that you've had, or anything prior to that, what response from the neighborhood did you get? Did you get complaints after the events?
So I've only been involved with Red Hawk since it's almost been about a year or so, so I haven't been through this whole process as of now. I do know that there were a couple events that occurred during earlier in the year that there was some complaints that it's hearsay to me, they weren't given specific to me.
Yeah.
None of the complaints came during those 3 events during the temporary permit. It was events prior to that, and honestly, those events came in right around the time that the mailers were going out about the hearing. So it was around that time, and it was just and I don't know what the specific complaint was.
Okay.
To be fair.
This is a little different questioning. This is regarding your restaurant. Does your restaurant serve food at any of these events, or is that all catered?
I won't say none of them, but it's usually catered.
Okay. Is the restaurant open during these events?
Partial. I mean, it depends on the time of the event. Sometimes
Right.
there's overlap.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I have for right now.
Just to kind of,
Yeah.
I don't know if you were getting with the restaurant. So any alcohol service is
Right.
all through us. It's not through a catering company. I don't know if that's where you were.
Right. That was part of
Okay,
it.
but
yeah.
so anything alcohol related is
Yeah.
used by Red Hawk's. It's
Right.
through Red Hawk staff that's
Right.
providing all that.
Okay, thanks.
Fernando?
I think my only question was about when the study was done, and I think he answered.
I wasn't a part. I wasn't there when the study was done, so I can't speak to
Yeah.
when that was done.
Okay. Okay, so my questions, those were good questions, Bob, thank you. So, have you, and maybe you can't answer this, I don't know how long you've been here, but have you had any feedback since your homeowners meeting back in February of 2025?
So
Because that's been a whole year. So
sure.
I'm just wondering.
So not me personally, because I would say up until probably recently, more with once Randy kind of went out on his health, I wasn't really directly involved in a lot of that stuff. I've kind of picked up some of that slack now since he's been out. I do know because when I came on as going to be the events person last February, I did attend that second town hall meeting. I wasn't part of the first town hall meeting. And one thing that I did do was I introduced myself as who I was in that town hall meeting. And I personally provided my direct contact number. So if anyone did have any issues with any event going on, because I am there throughout the entire event from the beginning to the very end, that they're more welcome to call me if they are having an issue. And that never happened. So no one directly called me with any issues during one of our events.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I know that from one of the comments that we have on the dais from the Homeowners Association president, that was one of the requests, that they would have a phone number, somebody to call.
Yep.
And also, the other request was, and I don't know, I know the city has a limit, but to lower the noise level standard, limit the number and or direction of speakers, no commercial disc jockey, rave, or concert level equipment allowed, install sound baffling, enclose the space, and any other proposals that will mitigate the noise and reverberations. So what would you say to that?
Well, I would have to find out exactly what the definition of rave type equipment is. I don't know what that would qualify under. I will say that we're not doing anything reckless or anything, because I live in the community as well. So
Okay.
I also live close, so I understand the importance of being a good neighbor and also treating my neighbors with the respect, because they are actually my actual next door neighbors. So I talked to them about that, but I do think it is very important. I can assure you, since I've been there, we have never had any rave type of music playing. So
Yeah, I think it seems like from the comments we received that obviously the concern is the noise level.
absolutely,
And which, living there, you can understand.
100%.
And so I think we need to be respectful of that. So that's why we're asking these questions. Go ahead.
Sorry. So, I guess, to best answer that is to stick within the rules and doing what I can do with my staff to make sure that we're sticking to the rules, right?
Okay.
That is provided to.
So for those 3 events that you had in November with the temporary conditional permit, TCP, right?
TUP.
TUP. You didn't have any complaints from those 3 events?
Correct.
Nobody complaining
Not that
about
I'm aware
noise? Okay, all right. And we could maybe ask our code if anything happened there. Okay, love that there's a logbook. I think that's great. And that you do a non-event day sound check with a DJ. And 130 persons, what does that kind of look like? You know what I'm saying? What does that look like?
For
What
that
can you
space,
compare that to?
130 persons, I would say that's definitely a smaller sized wedding,
Right.
I would say.
Right.
I wouldn't say that's a big wedding by any.
So so you are telling people ahead of time, obviously,
Yeah,
that
so
are
we
renting
give
the
them,
venue.
when they do a tour with us, because they ask, because
They can only
those
have-
are all part of our questions, right? So
Okay.
when they're booking, we ask them guest count, everything, so there's a million questions that we have for them that we
Right.
custom.
And you have things in place if somebody gets rowdy from the liquor, that kind of
Yeah,
situation?
so we have built-in security that's built into every event.
Okay,
So, and even part of our contract with them is no excessive noise up in the parking lots or anything like that. Our security staff will remove them.
so you have security staff at Red Hawk?
Well, so they
Or you
are
bring-
contracted per event.
Oh, okay.
So I was a police officer for several years, and so all of our security are actually law enforcement level gentlemen
Okay,
that do security at our events.
okay,
They're not employees of Red Hawk, though.
okay, good to know. All right, any other questions, Fernando, for the applicant?
I do have one question now that you brought up the amount of people. Was the 130 something that through the community meeting, the residents believe that 100, because I'm understanding that the DJ is the noise factor, not the people.
Not the people.
So is that something that
To be
both
honest-
of you agreed to?
To be honest,
or-
I think that happened in the first meeting before I was involved.
Okay.
Because those provisions, I wasn't aware of those, or I wasn't a part of that negotiation or anything like
Right.
that. So I didn't hear any complaint. I don't know what the specific complaint on that was.
Okay,
That-
Eric, I'm
Commissioner
sorry.
Solis, that
Yeah.
came out of back when their Randy Wood was involved with the community, and in between those two community meetings that they held, that's when they knocked down the hours, they knocked down the amount of people in. So it was conversations Randy Wood had in the community, and then he came back with his resubmittal, and that's what it was.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay. I might have more questions, as it develops, but right now I'm okay.
Okay? Same?
Yeah.
Okay.
I-
Okay, all right, thank you very much. We'll probably bring you back up, but, so don't go anywhere. All right, and we'll go ahead and hear from our request to speak. And I'm going to start with Matthew Fagan. That's you? Are you wanting to, no? You're good? Okay, then we have Kim Ron Hovde? No comment, okay. And we have Robbie Snyder. Okay, and then we have David Akiba. Hi, welcome.
Hello.
We've seen you before.
Yes,
You
you
keep
have.
trying to speak to us.
Right, you can't miss me, right? All right.
No. There's more. Okay.
I might need to talk to you, so if I point to you, if you can come up here, because I have some questions for you too. But thank you very much for letting me speak. I appreciate that. I live over the first tee of Red Hawk Golf Course. I've lived here for 21 years. There are, if you just do a simple Google search, there are tons of locations for weddings, for events, for all kinds of things. They're all over the place. We have wineries all over the place. Hotels, I'm not even mentioning Pachanga. We have so much stuff to go to, right? But we still, at Red Hawk, we still have events there. I hear all the time, and so does my wife, things that are going on, dances, birthdays, events, sometimes weddings, still stuff going on in the clubhouse. And that's part of it. I understand you move here, you want to be over the golf course, you want to enjoy privacy, but you know you're living over a golf course, and you see that clubhouse over there, and you know that there's going to be something coming over there. I understand. I'm good with that. I've been here 21 years. What I'm not good with is the giant event center that's going to come right in the middle of the golf course, that's going to provide a lot of noise to a lot of people who didn't expect it. And here's what I mean by didn't expect it. I'm here, you've seen me before because I've gone to this event, a planning commission, and it's been moved over. But you know what? You know who's not here? The thousands of homeowners that overlook this golf course. They don't know about this. I know that they don't know this. My neighbors don't know about this. My wife walks around Red Hawk all the time, and she talks to people. Nobody knows about this. You know how I find out? Back in October, I got this agenda. It was mailed to me. Okay, great. That was back in October, and it was via mail. Why all these houses that are over Red Hawk Golf Course have homeowner associations? Why can't every single person, every resident who is in there get an email from the HOA? I guarantee you there'd be a lot more people than me that would be upset about this event center. I think not having enough notice is a huge problem, and it could be a legal one as well. The next thing I'm worried about, obviously, is property values. You're talking about values of thousands of people who are going to go down, all their values are going to go down because of this event center. We weren't ready for that one. The last thing, obviously, I'm here about is noise. I see, and I appreciate that all of you were concerned about that. And I appreciate the levels of decibels that you put in your thing here. But to tell you the truth, that means absolutely nothing to me. I am deaf. I have a hearing aid this year. I have a cochlear implant this year. I lost my hearing in this year at a wedding. I was dancing at a wedding, and I lost my hearing that night. The DJs who are playing, and I'm specifically talking to you about this, the DJs who are playing don't understand decibel levels. And when you hear loud, you hear loud. You don't say, oh, it's at 65 or whatever. You know, I can't go higher than this. They just hear loud music. All these people hear loud music. Now, the homeowners aren't going to go deaf from this. They're not. They're homeowners. The people at the wedding, you may get somebody who shows up just like me, who's trying to dance at a wedding and have fun and go deaf. I'm not saying there shouldn't be weddings. There should be. But they should be in proper places with proper air so people don't have to suffer from the loudness of these weddings. I'm worried that you may get even more litigation because of something like this.
You have 30 seconds.
Okay. I just don't think this is a profitable move for these two gentlemen. It doesn't make sense. There's Pechanga, there's hotels, there's wineries all over. They're not gonna wanna go to Red Hawk Golf Course so they can get their wedding. It's not profitable. Plus you have the noise factor. Plus you have no notice given to the neighbors. This is a real problem. It needs to be addressed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming. Do we have any other speakers, Denise?
I passed one to you.
William Kelly? Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm William Kelly, president of the Homeowners Association. I also live on the 18th hole. I got like first chair. So I've been here since 2003 at this particular house, in Temecula since '95. Love it. The only reason why I'm here is that I would like the commission to consider the severity of the proposed venue change. It's a golf course. It's dark. There's nobody there at night. They shouldn't be. We're opening up to compete with our major wineries who have venues to have weddings. This is basically a shelter house put up with no installations, nothing, just open air in a valley where sound magnifies out. Now, I'm here as an owner, not on payroll, not a part of a survey. I actually hear the noise. They had a wedding where they say, is anybody, and this is loud, has an objection, I can go over there and say, I do. That's how loud it is. So I would ask that the Planning Commission understand what's really taking place here. It's a change of complete planning, and it's a nice way to sneak in and turn a golf course into an unsupervised, no one's there, you call, nobody answers the phone. When people, it's dark. When they leave, there's no traffic flow. Talking about 130 people minimum. I would just ask that the council, planning commission, do due diligence and look. Even the principals are not here to speak on behalf of their project. Why? So, I'm also a member of the association. We do have residents, and as you know, as the gentleman said, people don't show up until there's really a problem. That's when you know things are going bad. And unfortunately, it's too late when they show up. But that's why we have a diligent council, planning commission that considers all of the facts and the material. Thank you guys so much for your time, and I appreciate all of the hard work, thankless most of the time, that you guys put forth for our beautiful city. It's a pleasure and honor to live here. And like I said, I've been here since 1995. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Okay, do we have anybody else? Any other speakers?
All the speakers. You? If anyone in the audience would like to speak?
This is your chance. Okay, you need to come up to, yep, you can turn that in. Turn it into her. And come on up to the podium.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Michael Solomon. I am a resident of Red Hawk. I just have one simple question. Is the Randy Wood to my right related in any way to the Randy Wood, general manager at the golf course?
He says no, even though we're not supposed to answer questions. But no, he's not.
Okay.
Was
All
that
right.
it?
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Glad we clarified that. Anybody else wanting to speak? Okay, before we close the public hearing, we're going to have the applicant come back up. The event planner, probably, both of you, to answer any questions of the public that have questions and concerns that they've had. Thank you.
Madam Chair. And again, we appreciate folks coming out and sharing their concerns. In terms of any of the specifics, in terms of noise, again, we're given standards by the general plan and the zoning ordinance, and we comply with those. And so, we're not asking for any special exceptions for that. As a matter of fact, we've provided a situation where Robbie has given out his name and number to be notified. So I don't understand a comment about not knowing who to chat with. I'd like if staff could talk about the notification process. I've been doing this. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'd like the staff to talk about the notification process as, again, I've been doing this in this
Sure,
business
they can respond to
since
that.
91, and this was a real special, unique way of notifying a lot of people that we went through, as I recall.
I do have a question since you mentioned Mr. Snyder. So are you there at each event?
Yes.
The entire time?
Yes,
Okay. And you have your phone on you?
I do.
You're available if someone were to call you and complain about the noise?
100%. So I apologize, I forget the gentleman's name that said,
If you
there's
can
no one to-
speak into the mic, please.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't remember the gentleman's name that brought up the point of there's no one to call or anything like that. I'm assuming he's just trying to call the regular Red Hawk business line, which there would be no one there to answer that phone, which is why I provided at the city hall meetings, if it's a matter of communication and, I'm more than happy to make it public for anyone to reach out to me. It's a cell phone that's on my person the entire time of the event. So, and I'm more than happy to answer those calls.
Okay. Any other response to the speakers that have come up?
He did mention something to property value, and I would almost just also think of the alternative, because there are other venues that you can go to, but we're doing this to keeping the preservation of Red Hawk Golf Course a prime spot to be in this environment with everything else. And this is just a revenue stream to help generate a healthy business model for a Red Hawk that wants to be a part of not just community events, but we've hosted city events there for Planning Commission. You guys did a city workshop there. We want to be open to the community, not just for dollars and cents, but also to be a solid pillar of the Red Hawk community for everybody. So when even in the plan where it says community events, it is a catch-all, but it's also, we do want to start getting to the point where we can have events for for the Red Hawk community. So it actually builds a proper place for people to have little events or gatherings and work within high schools and give them a spot to have fundraising events and stuff like that. We want to be a partnership with all of our neighbors as well as the community within that. And I would say, look at the alternative if that golf course wasn't there. We're already combating kids on e-bikes and everything like that, and that are causing vandalism to our course with us occupying it. So just think about the alternative. What would be behind your course if we didn't have a thriving business behind your homes?
Thank you. So on the hours of 12 to 9, when is that exactly shut down? When how you have to kind of have some leeway time.
And I think that's I'll be honest, because of I'm newer to this process too. So I get further clarification, whatever that means. My understanding was amplified sound was 9 p.m. That was my understanding of this process. If that needs to be addressed, we'll address it. But that was my understanding, was amplified sound.
So the music cut off at 9 p.m.,
Correct.
but people are still there.
And then, yeah, but I mean, obviously if the music's over, people aren't really wanting to hang around too much.
Right.
So, and we, obviously, in a safely manner, starting to get people out. Because if we're not running the event anymore, I don't want to be paying my staff just to be hanging out.
Right.
So.
Okay. Anything else that you want to say in rebuttal, so to speak, to those that have spoken?
I don't think so. I mean, just
Okay.
just know that even though we are on opposing sides, we are still wanting to work with you and be a partner with you and come to a good agreement, and that's why I'm making myself available to them.
Okay. Eric, do you want to respond on the notification process?
Sure. So
Thank you.
For this
wait, before you guys leave, are there any other questions for the applicant that you guys have?
I think I do, yeah. I think right now's a good time. For the noise consultant, are they here? The one that produced the noise study?
Horn.
I have like a technical noise question.
Yeah.
You have anything for the applicant? Okay.
Hi, I'd like to know.
What is your name?
Oh, Ryan Sheen with Kimley Horn and Associates.
You
Noise
can bring that
technical.
up if you're, so you don't have to.
Is that better?
Ryan,
Okay.
yeah.
Ryan Sheen with Kimley Horn.
Welcome.
Noise technical lead.
So
Yeah.
you were the noise consultant that prepared the report?
Yes.
So can you let me know how loud 65 decibels is, like an example?
Yeah, it's approximately like a normal conversation.
Yeah.
You and I just stand and talk next to each other 3 feet away.
That's
just
what
normal
65
speaking.
decibels is.
About, yeah.
Okay. And what is 80 decibels? Or I'm sorry, what is the DJ noise? Like if you're standing 10 feet away from a speaker,
Yeah.
what decibel is that?
The actual number or like kind
Yeah.
of the representative?
Or an
represent-
example
So
of-
about a lawnmower, I would say, on the decibel chart.
Okay.
About 80 decibels, 80, 85. And that's,
Okay.
the limit is 84 that we, in the mitigation measure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in your experience, to mitigate noise even more, is there some kind of like temporary soundproof, like a curtain or like something decorative that can be maybe helpful in a situation with the loud environment?
Yeah. There's like temporary kind of noise barriers, blankets,
That are very decorative.
They can be, yeah.
Okay.
There's permanent and temporary kind of solutions you can put, but it needs to be, for like a speaker system, it should be closer to the source.
Right.
Or at the receiver, like close to where the
noise is
they're
coming from.
receiving it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just really wanted to kind of put that for everyone to know that 65 decibels is the normal conversation.
Yes, exactly.
That's how much 65 decibels is. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
That's it.
Bob?
Yes, Ryan?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Is there noise canceling devices that can be used in this kind of a situation?
Noise canceling?
Yeah,
As far as the speakers,
yeah.
there are noise limiters, if that's kind of what you're getting at, as far as like, hitting their max volume and adjusting down
Yeah.
automatically.
Yeah.
There are systems like that.
Okay, because I know, I've got a friend who's an expert in noise. He does sound mitigation for the U.S. government. And they use active noise canceling in manufacturing and that, and was actually, had recommended to the city that we might experiment that with in Old Town. And didn't know if you had any experience with the use of that for this type of situation. It's certainly not a manufacturing indoor type situation, it's outdoors. And but if that's something that could even be experimented with.
Yeah, it definitely can be. In other kind of wedding events that I've done studies for, they had those systems with the speaker system to automatically limit
Right.
the output. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
Madam Chair, if I could clarify. So with regard to the hours of operation, just so we're all on the same page, the way the condition is written is there would be events 3 days a week between noon and 9 o'clock, and the event would end at 9 o'clock. I think there was maybe a possibility that the interpretation was that live entertainment ended at 9, and then people could stay around till 10 or 11, but it's written noon to 9. So live entertainment or live music ends at 9, and the event ends at 9.
So with that, maybe it would be wise to have the live entertainment ending at 8:30 or 8.
Well, I think
even.
part of what you need to consider is if it ends at 9, there is cleanup, there is people leaving time with events. So that I think that needs to be clarified.
Okay, Bob?
Matt, would alcohol service have to stop 30 minutes prior to the 9 o'clock event ending?
Eric, can you speak to that?
Yeah, as we know from the meetings we had recently, we're a midnight city and whatnot, and this isn't going anywhere near midnight, so the alcohol, the events, everything stops at 9. That's the
Okay,
cutoff.
All right.
Okay. All right, Eric, you want to respond to the?
Yeah, okay, so for noticing for this project, we kind of went really above and beyond. We sent out well over 1,000 notices to all the neighbors back when this thing was originally supposed to go to hearing. We also did the same noticing labels for when the MND went out, so residents could comment on that. And as we've talked about today, there's been an extensive noise section on that as well. So we went well above and beyond what we're supposed to do. We pretty much noticed pretty much all of Red Hawk, the whole entire thing, including the HOA, everything.
Okay. All right.
In addition, this will go to city council, it will be noticed again.
Yes, correct.
If it's approved. Correct. Either way.
The recommendation of the Planning Commission goes to City Council.
Right. True. Okay, any other questions this time before I close the public hearing? Questions of staff, questions of applicant?
No.
No? Okay. All right, then if no one else wants to speak, I don't see anybody running up here, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing and have some time for discussion for the three of us before we carry on. So.
And Honorable Chair, before you deliberate, if I could just clarify one thing, and it's the vote on this matter. So the government code provides that a specific plan essentially needs to be adopted or amended in the same manner as a general plan. And then the government code also specifies that a general plan requires, the vote on a recommendation to the city council requires an affirmative vote of the majority of the legislative body. So in this case, it means that in order to make a recommendation adopting a resolution, either approving or approving the project, essentially, it would require a 3-0 vote because there's only 3 of you present. So if there's a 2-1 vote, that is essentially a denial of the project or the recommendation to the city council regarding the project.
Okay. Thank you, Marisela. All right. Let's start with you, Mr. Fernando. I feel like we're
Okay. Eric, can you please put up the map of the decibels and how it relates to where the event will happen?
Sure, so as I was mentioning earlier, there in the center of that dark purple area, right in the middle, that little hot pink spot, that's essentially the pavilion.
Okay. So, to me, now that I understand what the number represents, I mean, there's noise. There will be noise coming out of here. There's noise coming out of here today, and if this is representing 65 decibels and it's at the edge of the parking lot, that's happening right now. And the amplified music is happening only where the music is happening. I do believe that this illustration represents a correct the amount of sound, because I mean, we're talking about 300 and something feet to the closest resident. I understand noise is very important in a community. My community is very quiet. But 65 decibels, that's a conversation, right? And another, maybe, I understand that the community has a concern about noise. Well, maybe we can put some sound barrier, not sound barrier, but maybe some temporary walls around the DJ, where the DJ speakers are at, to absorb more sound, which I don't think it's necessary in this case, because this report represents a conversation in the parking lot. That's the amount of noise. So to me, it doesn't sound like this loud music is very loud. So the study shows it's a conversation, and that's how loud the music is going to be. So that's my thought.
okay. Bob?
Okay, well, one thing I just want to bring up is that this is a CUP, which goes with the land. And to explain to the audience, if this was approved, this goes beyond the present owners. It goes beyond of the golf course. It goes beyond the present owners of the homes. That once a CUP is approved, to repeal it is a major, major process for the city to go through. We've gone through it once in the last couple of years, and it's a long, detailed process. The other thing that I just want to say, I was at a wedding this past fall at a golf course in San Clemente, and the wedding was outside, but the party afterwards was indoors. There was a DJ, and we would go outside to have a conversation. Particularly, a lot of the family hadn't seen each other for a long period of time, and the music and dancing was something a lot of people participated in, but family also wanted to get together, and they would go outside. And going outside, we really could not hear the music inside. The doors were kept closed. and it was something for everyone to enjoy. When it comes to noise, I think there's just a lot of sensitivity towards it, regardless of whether you could measure dBAs or not. I live in Paloma del Sol. There is a high school that the property line is about 1,000 feet away. And there is some afternoons where the principal gets on a amplified sound outside to announce things. And I would assume that that's at least 2,000 to 3,000 feet away. And I can hear it very, very well. And I'm a little old to have a baby, but if I did, I would be really concerned about that baby being able to sleep. In a few years from now, I might be concerned because might want to need to take a nap in the afternoon. So it's something, I think it's a very sensitive thing, and I'm really concerned about if this was approved, and there was issues, we can't really do a whole lot about those issues without a major, major undertaking. And I do understand the dynamics today of running a golf course and the difficulty of making a profit. And I appreciate those challenges, so it's not falling on deaf ears, but I have a hard time supporting this unless the amplified sound was indoors, say at the restaurant. And I think a wedding taking place outside is not something that's particularly disturbing to anybody. So that's where I'm standing on this right now. So.
All right, thank you, Bob. So just a couple of things. I know there's been some concern. First of all, I appreciate everybody coming out. I know it's a work day. It's a work day for me as well. So I appreciate you taking the time to do that. And we did hear you, each of you that spoke, and those that have, that we have emails here on the dais. We have read them, and we take all of that into consideration when we're looking at a project. I know there's been some concern that Randy Wood is not here. It sounds like he has some health conditions. And so, you know, there's really nothing we can do about that. We wish he were here as well. I do appreciate Mr. Snyder with the Red Hawk golf staff being in charge of the alcohol. Like, that to me is an important thing of making sure that that's with security and everything taken care of in that way. Mr. Kelly talking about it being a change of venue, that it is a golf course, and all of a sudden now it's more than a golf course. So there's two sides to that. Obviously, you want the golf course to stay in business, and it has been difficult, I think, for this area to do that. And so two sides there. Mr. Snyder providing his contact information, I think, is important. Also the time, with Mr. Peters clarifying that it ends at 9 o'clock. I think that wasn't specific with Mr. Snyder, and just that that it does need to end at 9 o'clock. But again, you're right, it's a CUP, and Mr. Snyder could be great, and then somebody else could step in and be not so great. So that's where we kind of, it's hard. It's hard in this situation to make that decision. I'm kind of on the fence, to be honest. And I wish we had all of our colleagues here to have everybody be able to speak to this, but since we don't, I think what we'll do right now, unless there's any other discussion, is that we will go ahead and make a motion or not?
I'd like to clarify, Madam Chair, that with regard to a CUP, Commissioner Hagel brought up that one of the options is revocation. I'd like to also point out that modification is also an option. So just keep that in mind. A CUP can also, we can bring an applicant back in and we can modify a CUP if that's necessary.
Commissioner Hagel, what would you think would be a responsible noise level for this business to be allowed to have a outdoor venue?
I don't think that, no noise level.
So no, there is no
Yeah,
noise level.
I would say that what I would feel comfortable with is if any amplified sound was kept inside.
Kept inside.
At, say, the restaurant, that the restaurant was closed and used, whether the restaurant was serving the food or the catering service is the restaurant be used. And I know that's what occurs in San Clemente. The big golf course there does not allow any amplified sound outside the doors.
You believe the same? Because we're
Yeah.
We're
I
going
know.
off of a study that was done by a professional.
Right,
And we're also going off of measuring the sound,
right,
not a thought,
right.
right? This business has prepared, I believe that, this business is a reputable business, very responsible. What they're asking for is not something out of the ordinary. This is a venue taking place in a country club, you can say. Very common and happens everywhere. And I think my thought process was, there's already noise happening here. The amplified music is so far away that it's not going to change much. Now, if someone goes outside in their backyard and just wants to listen to the music and considers that as it's loud music, well, yeah, you're going outside and you're just focusing on that noise. But if someone's in the house, you can't hear it. There's no way you're going to hear it. We're 300 and something feet away. So I understand that there's one person that came, there are a couple of people that are opposed to the project because of noise. That it's hard for me to understand how the study is saying that a noise is a conversation and then someone saying that it's completely out of line, that it's too loud.
Yeah, I hear you.
And I think that's it's hard to believe that. And I have live music at my house. And when it's a holiday, I have live music. And my live music is way louder than a DJ. And I do go to the corner because my neighbors, most of my neighbors are at my house, but I do go to the corner and I do say, hey, is it too loud? Yeah, it's too loud. Let's lower it. Or hey, we're talking about 4 houses down. We're talking about 200 feet. So 300 feet, that's far.
Yeah.
That's a long distance. And in addition to the long distance, there's also there's a big difference in grade. We're talking about the bottom of the hill with a bunch of landscape everywhere. So I understand the noise is an issue, but it's hard for me to believe that this noise is just so obnoxious that it's like really gonna ruin your living condition in your house because it's just so far.
Yeah, I think obviously the time is important, that is shut down at 9 o'clock with what we're asking here. And yeah, I think you make a good point.
There's noise everywhere, right? And they're not putting a DJ.
There's noise right now.
There's noise right now. So, I mean, we should all, I believe Red Hawk is doing something responsible. They're coming before us. They're showing us a study. They're showing us real facts.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to believe that amplified music is really amplified. So that's my thought process.
Okay, my experience is different. amplified sound and non-amplified sound of someone speaking, to me, is very different. One of the things that, well, we have plenty of sound issues in Old Town. Some of those issues with complaints are across the freeway. And again, you know, I don't think we want to open that up to a neighborhood. It wasn't there when they bought the homes, and I don't think that adding that to that neighborhood is the right thing to do. Different tones carry differently, and that's why I asked about tones. You can have very low tones, you know, bass can carry a much further distance, and how dBs are how they're affected by tones, I'm not sure.
Right.
But all I know is that, you know, here is somebody, an individual, not even music, on a microphone that's probably 2,000 to 3,000 feet away, and I can hear the person like they're standing next to me, both in my house when the windows are open and outdoors. And given that these events can take place not only in the evening, but during the day, I mean, you have little kids that are trying to take naps. You have babies that haven't slept at night, like you know you've experienced a few times.
My baby will sleep through anything.
Yeah. So I don't think this is the appropriate place for that
Right.
unless it was indoors, or unless there is a way to modify
Right.
the with some type of sound deadening. And I don't know if that's, you know, that's not something that we can identify right here.
Yeah,
but,
no.
Eric, do you have anything you want to add here to our discussion
I can
that might
mention-
help us?
Yeah, I can mention that when Randy Wood was involved with the project, he did talk about, and maybe some up here can come up, but he was talking about putting in some type of sound curtaining and whatnot. So maybe if you can come up and speak a little bit about that.
I need to open the public hearing
Yeah,
again
okay.
then.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I really appreciate this conversation. I think it's really strong. You're getting all the issues out, and you know, I can kind of start to read tea leaves. You know, we need to have 3 in concurrence to get to, to move up. I think we automatically move up to the city council, but you know, we you know, value the opinion of the planning commission as we go forward.
We need a 3-0 vote in
Yeah.
order to approve
To
it.
recommend approval, but irrespective, because it is a specific plan amendment, then if you're recommending denial, then that recommendation
Right.
would also go up to the city council.
Correct.
In terms of other things that can be used, certainly, you know, we were looking at that early on, and it, you know, I think instead of pushing the vote today, perhaps we can spend some time looking at some other options, as long as they're actually not insanely cost prohibitive. We certainly would like the time to work with the noise consultant and staff, and reach out to the neighbors with any information that we come up with, and then come back to the planning commission with perhaps something that is, again, a little more reasonable to you folks.
Do you think that maybe with time, you can speak to your consultants and work with staff to revise the proposal a bit, to maybe include some curtains or some, maybe like a temporary tent? Do you think that would be maybe a possibility?
I think we'd like to explore some options.
Or
Again, if
explore
they
some
can-
options with staff?
Yeah, with staff and the noise consultant, yes.
And maybe you can modify your proposal.
If,
Is
again, the
that-
analysis leads that way, and it's strong, and it's reasonable, you know, and again, it doesn't cost $8 zillion.
Yeah, but to mitigate the noise
Yes.
more than the way you're proposing it now. Is that?
Yeah,
is that-
I
is
would,
that something
I
that
don't
we
have
can-
any issue with a wedding venue at all.
Right.
Other than the
Noise.
noise issue. And so I'd be very
Okay.
open to, looking at other ways to mitigate that, that would be not just a dBA meter. That you, literally, the neighbors aren't hearing things. And again, whether it's daytime or evening, daytime can be just as bad as evening can, so.
Okay.
Yeah, come on up, come on up.
So I guess, just so, because I know that a lot of this is gonna fall on me to do this, which is fine, I'm more than happy to do that. I guess I just wanna understand, if we're not going off of DB, if we're not going off of that, right? We have to have some level of measure, and what is that level of measure, right? So, because we can sit here and do, because I don't wanna be here a couple months from now, we're going to the same thing, because at the end of the day, laws are written by what's reasonable and what's not reasonable, right? The city of Temecula so far is deemed what's reasonable is certain DBAs at 10 p.m. That is the city of Temecula's ordinance, right? So there is a level of guidance for us to, just a resident, not pertain to this in general. Well, I would say that we're already doing those things. We're already limiting what we're already being quieter than what your next door neighbor's allowed to do per the city, which is they laid out, this is what is reasonable. To be a resident in Temecula, this is what's reasonable. I would argue we're going above and beyond what's already deemed by the city of what is reasonable. So, for example, their next door neighbor in the same neighborhood could have a party and they have more freedom to do what we're requesting to do. I'm more than willing, because I do think that this is a vital piece to keep the Red Hot Golf Course as a viable business in this community. And if we don't do this, we're gonna have to find other routes to do it. And we will do that. We want to be, like I said, we want to be a partner, and I'm willing to go above and beyond what is reasonable. I would say we're already matching what the city has deemed reasonable by law, right? So we're already going above and beyond that. So I guess I'm willing to keep working, because I do think that this is important, and I think this is a partnership, and we need to find a way to cohesively work together. But with that, I need to understand what are the standards that I have to meet to satisfy these requirements, right? So, because as you said, it's literally a conversation. And everyone brings their own experience. And, I would say someone yelling into a microphone, like the principal, is very different than music. I will argue that, right? Because I've been in the wedding industry a long time, and I've worked at that venue that you're talking about. And I would also say that the music and the principle that you are basing your experience on, we don't know what they're having to operate on versus what we're required to operate on. I would argue that we're probably well below what they're allowed to do. So I just asked you to consider, to consider that aspect. And I do think, try to find things of getting things indoors is reasonable. However, that's a huge expense that we're gonna have to figure out, like how to, fully enclose something. Again, I'm not saying that's something we're not willing to navigate and work towards, because again, we want to be a pillar of the community. It's not just about dollars and cents for us. It's about being here for long term. And so I guess that's all I'm asking is just what is that standard that we're trying to meet, right? And because I'm willing to do what we have to do to make
Yeah,
that
we appreciate that.
Okay, can I
Yeah,
respond to that?
please.
Sure.
Well, two things. One, I will respond to what I would consider at least a decent measure. But is there a possibility that your restaurant become part of this event, that it's used?
As of right now, as it lays right now, no. Just because of the size, logistics, it wouldn't even be safe enough for that size, that type of event.
Okay.
It's not really designed for
Right.
that originally, which is why the pavilion area was built,
Great,
was
okay.
to safely accommodate all those things, so we can stick to, what the city has deemed reasonable.
Right. So I'm assuming what you're saying is the restaurant's not even big enough to handle
No,
that. Okay, I
correct.
appreciate that.
No, I mean, we could fit the restaurant right here.
So what I would consider a reasonable test would be to, first of all, come up with other mitigation, something relatively simple, like curtains or something that surrounds at least the area where the DJ or band is playing, and that the DBA tests are taken at several different property lines, and that high tones and low tones are all played so that we can be sure that, for instance, you're not going to sit there and listen to every bass beat,
Correct.
and not hear anything else, but for some people, they're particularly sensitive to certain tones.
Sure.
And that, I think, would be satisfactory.
So just so you do know what we're already doing, because our decibel readers that we have our sound people do, I do require my individuals to stay at each location and do not just it's this dB. I have them stay there for at least 30 seconds to a minute to get a range. So that way we do get those different tones that you're referring to. Because if there's music, you're going to have highs and lows in a song, anything like that.
Exactly.
So we already do ensure that we stick around 4 to get in a total range to make sure that we are, we just didn't click it right at the right time where there was no lower tone that, would be in our favor.
Yeah. I think something else that would be very useful if, I know you're providing your number to people. If it's provided to the HOA, and if you have an agreement with the HOA to make sure that all residents have that number.
Not a problem.
Like our HOA does, they provide us with security's telephone number, which we've called, at 10 o'clock at night or whatever.
And
for some
I think
reason.
that's very reasonable, and I have no issues with that whatsoever.
Okay.
I have another question for the applicant. Do you happen to have an event coming up within a couple weeks?
No. I mean, if
I know, I'm just trying to kind of get something like a real event with real numbers and real, like Commissioner Hagel said, he would like some points in actually stating, at this time.
Well, that's something
there
that
was a
we can.
reading.
Well, that's something we can easily simulate too.
That's fine.
right?
Okay.
So I mean, I can bring our DJ that we typically use because we were very strict with him already to stick with these guidelines because on his sound system we have it measured off. I mean, it's more of the poor man's version of the sound system you're talking about, but I mean, we do actually have it marked off on his speakers. Like you cannot turn your dial past this line,
dial.
right?
Yeah.
Because I know once you're past this line, we could be exceeding these limits that were set forth.
Okay, well, maybe
And I can simulate that. I mean, I have no problem doing that.
maybe a more detailed sound report.
Okay, so do we have any other questions of the applicant at this time? Are we good?
No, I'm good.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. And before we discuss some more, Eric, anything else that you want to add?
Let me just step in here for 1 minute. On the noise slide that Eric had up on the screen, it shows the decibel levels
Why don't you bring that up again?
At the property lines,
Okay.
which is 60, 55, 50, 55, and 50. So if we're asking the applicant to lower the DBAs again at the property line, what's the comfort level?
Right.
Are 47, 48? I mean, if we're getting very specific on what the comfort level is of the noise at a property line. They're already way below 65. So that's something to consider
Right.
as well.
Right.
Do you believe maybe, Commissioner Hagel, that maybe a more detailed, a real live event where they can actually get real numbers so there can be real documentation? You think that would be a good starting point for the?
That's what this was.
Yeah.
The study was based on a real live event, according to the applicant and their consultant. So it's been done.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it feels more clear now, and I appreciate Mr. Snyder coming up. And I do believe that they are trying to do everything in their power to make it amenable to the community. And like you said, Fernando, noise is noise. And we have a neighbor who has parties all the time next door. And, I'm like flipping my light, my outside lights. I don't want to be rude. We want to be good neighbors, but it's like you just want to be respectful to people around you. And so I think you made a good point with that. So those are the decibels, and that's the ordinance we have in the city. They are ending at 9 o'clock, and I feel comfortable that I could vote on this today and vote in favor of it because of and I think maybe what we could add to it is some mitigation with the DJ himself, with curtains or whatever that would kind of keep that from going out. I think that might be a good mitigation if possible. But I feel like you said, the work has been done. They've already done this, a real live event. And it's more kind of a little bit, and I liked what Matt said about modifications, that we can make modifications. It is a CUP, but we can make modifications. And if this is not working, we can change that, correct? For modifications. And so I think having all of that information for me and hearing the homeowners, I understand, I'm also a homeowner in Red Hawk, that we need, as a planning commission, we need to consider all of that and come to a decision that is fair for all involved. And I think that's what's hard. We have our own opinions, we have our own things that we're thinking about, but I think we have to come together as a planning commission and make that decision from what is given us today. So for me, if we can add some mitigation to the DJ himself, because I do understand amplified music, that it does carry. And even if those numbers are there, that noise is probably going to be heard at some point. And so if there's some mitigation we can do for the DJ in that noise carrying, I think that would, for me, help in voting for approval on this project. Fernando, thoughts?
For me, I really concentrated a lot on the noise study that was done. And also what those numbers represent. I understand the noise does distribute outward, but I think also I agree with you that maybe if we were to include some temporary sound walls by the speakers with a special curtain, it's like a sound curtain, it actually absorbs sound. A lot of the restaurants use it on the ceilings and the walls. Maybe if we can incorporate that in maybe a floor plan where the applicant can let us know that there will be a 5-foot soundproof wall, temporary curtain wall or something that maybe the noise consultant can come up with that he has done in other areas that have been successful. Maybe we can use that, incorporate that, modify that, document it in a floor plan. I think I will be in support of that. Maybe we can continue the meeting so the applicant has time to work with staff to come up with a creative way to modify the proposal.
I would be relatively good with that. I would approve this if the mitigation was done and another sound test was taken at, say, 3 property lines. And I don't mean, out on the golf course, but at 3 housing property lines, and we were at 65 dBA or lower.
Okay.
And that the mitigation was either required to be put up for each event or made permanently.
Okay.
So, did you have something else? So Maricela, is that something that we can put in a motion, or do we need to continue the meeting?
It can be put in a motion, but the only issue is that one of the requests by Commissioner Hagel was to do further studies, so we would need to see the results of those studies. So we have one of two options. If those studies need to happen, then I would recommend that this get continued either to a date certain that's with enough time to have those studies done so that you can come back and report on them. Alternatively, it can be continued off calendar and renotice, which will be kind of more expensive and require a lot more noticing. Or if the commission decides you don't need to have those studies, then you could certainly vote on this today and just add a condition of approval incorporating the mitigation measure of the temporary sound wall curtain barrier to help mitigate the noise around amplified sound.
Would you be okay with that third one?
I would be okay with putting it off and leaving it up to the applicant to decide whether it's at a specific date or, continued until, they got to feel comfortable with being able to do all that with the sound consultant. So.
Can we ask the applicant if he can produce that by the next planning commission hearing, so then he knows what he has to do, and is that enough? Can we bring up the applicant?
I think I feel it needs to be up to them.
Okay, I'm going to
how
open the
quickly they
public
can do
hearing
it.
again.
Do you believe that you can produce all that document by the next commission meeting?
When is it? When is that next commission?
It's
Would be the first Wednesday in March.
March
So-
4th.
Or you can also continue it to the April meeting if you need more time. So just as long as it's a date certain,
Yes.
then we can go ahead and continue it to a date certain, and you
Sure.
don't have to renotice. If we just say, continue until you're ready, then we're going to need to renotice everything.
But I think staff also needs time to maybe look over everything, so
Yes.
I would defer to staff to.
I think we need to
Tell us.
clarify what the planning commission is asking for as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
can I ask a clarifying, because it says 65 at the houses, right? So that's what's basically saying, if that's what it was during that event, like I said, I had no part of that event. With everything that's going on and everything that's been coming up, I can tell you, and I don't know if this changes anything, because I don't understand all the logistics of it specifically, but all of our readings that we do, we're not even close to 65 at those points, right? So even that, I took that as that's what we're allowed to be at, but we're not even there when we do our readings. We're between 45 and 55 at all of those, at all the fence line points that we already do. We're already doing those things. Again, I'm not opposed to finding more creative ways that puts everybody's mind at ease. I'm okay with that. But I just want to make sure that we're very clear that we're already, I just took that as that's what we're allowed to be at, but I'm doing everything in my power to make sure we don't even eclipse that level. So when I do my logbook that we've already started doing, we're at all those points where it says 65, we're 10 decibels lower than that when I'm doing my readings as is now. So, because you were asking just to make sure that we're, 65 or lower, we're already doing that. So if we need to do something officially, okay.
Yeah.
But I'm just letting you know, we're already taking those measures. I'm not pushing it like this is what I can be.
Yeah.
Because if you're actually next to 84, it's actually pretty loud next to a speaker,
Yeah.
right? So, and that's not how we're designed. We're not a club. We're not a bar. That's not the type of venue that we have. That's not the type of clientele that we have. We're a golf course, right? So we keep things at a very reasonable sound. So I can say even our logbooks, we're below 84 at 50 feet. We're in the 70s most of the time. And then at the houses, we don't ever eclipse 60 dBs during one of our events currently. So we're already at like 45 to 50.
Mr. Fagan?
So just to respond about, the whole thing about sound meters is, we're stuck with that. That's the only way
It's
of
the
doing
measure.
it.
It's what we-
And yet, we've got people that are complaining about hearing things when your readings are at 65, so there's something that doesn't match here. And I've experienced it myself. I mean, somebody could say, in Old Town, that down the street, it's at 65, and yet I'm hearing really loud music, so I'm not sure what to do with that. And I know that there's no other way to measure it other than that. So to me, putting in curtains, sound curtains, or whatever the consultant comes up with ways to kill as much of that sound. And I think, Fernando, you're right about sound curtains they do deaden. I mean, you go in a restaurant that has a lot of soft stuff all around, you can sit and actually have a conversation with somebody. You go in a restaurant that is not, you can't even have a conversation 3 feet away from you, and because they don't have any sound deadening in there.
And I mean, I think the sound guys could talk more to this because they're obviously the experts. I'm not
Right,
an expert in
yes.
sound, but what what
yeah.
I do know just from a layman's standpoint is because I think one thing that you guys are proposing is the speaker has to be in this corner of the building facing this way. I would almost argue if we were allowed to actually put speakers throughout, then the whole noise level comes down because you're not having one source that's pushing all the sound in one direction.
Yeah.
You have more spread out sound, but it's more concentrated. So you're not getting the spill out and the push out. Because then if we were to do that, we can install speakers on the ceiling pointed down so they're not pointed out. And then that would actually help mitigate a lot of that stuff because you don't have to turn the music up as loud to get to hear it wherever
Right,
you're at. Because if you're it's not one source, right? So there's several smaller sources that's help mitigating the sound.
So maybe that could be a creative way that you can come back to the commission
And I'll invest in
and
that this
present
week.
that.
That's not a problem.
So I think what
That's what
think
I would feel very
okay.
comfortable if you had the sound, the experts basically say, we've tested every way, we've looked at your situation, and here is the ideal way to do that, and that's something you agree to and do, then I think we're a whole lot more comfortable.
Do you believe that by next month, which is the March 4th, is that enough time for you to come up? Is that enough time? So then we can continue this meeting to the March.
I think we would need to look at the April date because
Okay.
getting the staff reports done and everything else is going to require the April date.
Is that
at a
is that
minimum.
okay?
They would have to conduct the studies, give us the report.
Yeah, that's
We'd
a
have to
lot.
summarize it and put in a staff report, so we'd have to do April for sure.
Yeah, that'd be a lot to do in 30 days.
And then, Matt, if we could, again, how do you want to go about this? It's logistics in terms of timing and stuff like that. I understand your lead time for a staff report. I would prefer it to be continued to a date specific. However,
That's why we're talking about
So
April 4th.
if we get continued to April 1st is the next planning commission
but
meeting
again,
after March.
however, when we have to contract perhaps through the city, or again, my concern is how fast can the city get through a process of bringing Kimley, getting a scope, getting a contract, having an analysis done. So, I'm kind of talking, I don't want to, we got to be pragmatic.
We do need to be pragmatic. We have to respect, if we continue it to a date certain and then don't hold that date, again, we're continuing it. So May 6th would be the other alternative. March is off the table.
Right.
It would be April 1st or May 6th.
And we're at this point now where I don't want to just, rush it to meet a date. I understand, the business implications. I'm more concerned with the end result. So understanding, having been on both sides of this fence here, and, we all have our limitations in terms of what we can control quickly and what goes slowly.
Yeah, I think if you think about having to execute the contract, getting the speakers, setting up the configuration, getting the consultant out there to do the testing, then preparing the report, sending it over to us to take a look at, I think the May date, May 6th, I believe.
So just for timing purposes, for May 6th, we would need all the information from Kinley, from your team, 6 weeks prior to that. Because we only do one meeting a month, so there's a greater lead time. So if it's May 6th, we would need it middle of March.
I guess if we could hear from Kimley Horn as to what they could do and how quick. I know how capable they are, so, and how capable staff is, so.
So I would just say regardless of the date, we need it at least 6 weeks ahead of time.
Okay, and you're nodding your head, yes? 6 weeks. Okay, maybe you want to come up if you're,
Yeah, I just wanted to backtrack from the May date, 6 weeks, just to confirm that you would need the studies, the mitigation report, March 25th. Is that correct? Just to, since we're
that
talking
enough?
about timing and everything.
Is that enough time for staff to review?
Looking at the calendar, March 25th.
That's, okay, yeah, I mean, that gives
Will
us
work.
roughly 2 months, and that would be enough time to do the studies and mitigation and modeling and all that.
All right. Okay, thank you.
okay.
Okay, are we?
Any other questions of the applicant? Are we good?
No, we're good.
Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing.
No, so if we are continuing it to a date certain, we need to open the public hearing,
Oh.
keep it open, and continue it. If the motion is to continue it, we're going to continue it to the June.
June? May?
No, I'm sorry,
May.
May. Sorry,
May
the
6th.
May.
May 6th.
May 6th date.
Okay, I'm going to open the
May
public
fi- is it
hearing,
May 5th?
but I have a question, Maricela.
Yes.
So, since my name was drawn,
Yes.
can I stay on as
Yes, so
that?
you are the
Okay.
person who was selected to
'Cause I don't wanna go
participate on
through all
this
that
matter.
again.
Correct. You are the only person allowed to participate from
Okay,
the three.
okay, I just wanted to make sure that we're not going to go through all of that. Okay. All right,
Well-
so we need a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to continue this item to the May 6th Planning Commission hearing.
Okay,
I would second.
okay. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carried. And now, can I close the public hearing?
No, we are
No.
leaving it open because it's being
Oh,
continued
yeah, that's
till the May.
right. It's been open a long time. Okay, all right, keep wanting to close it. All right, thank you, everyone, and thank you to those that are here, and the applicant, and consultant, and everybody working on this. Appreciate it. Welcome back, David and Mr. Watson, and we're going to go ahead to commissioner reports. Do we have any commissioner reports at this time? Yes? Oh, did you want to speak?
Only briefly.
Okay.
For my commissioner report, I can say with complete confidence that the wallpaper, ceiling tiles, and carpet in the hallway are all serviceable and good shape. Thank you.
Wow, that was important. Okay, Fernando, commissioner report?
No report.
Okay. David?
No commissioner report. I'll have a subcommittee
Yeah,
report.
we'll do that in a minute. Bob?
I don't have anything. I think I've been to a few events in the last month, but I don't remember what they are anymore. So.
Okay, yeah, I do know there's a ribbon cutting in a couple of weeks, on February 17th, for, yeah, Ron will be talking about that, I'm sure. Yeah, for Nicholas. I don't think I have anything either. So let's see, subcommittee reports. I know we had one this morning. Who would like to report on that?
Sure, yeah, I'll give it the first stab here. So the traffic subcommittee met this morning to review potential all-way stop controls along two different road segments. First was on Serafina Road at Sonia Lane. It's a long downhill road with fronting residential driveways. The residents there were concerned about cut-through traffic between Murrieta Hot Springs and Nicholas, and then also excessive speeds. And the city traffic team did provide us with data that backs those concerns up. So the 85th percentile speed was measured to be about 9 miles per hour over the posted speed limit of 25, with even some cases of motorists exceeding 50, which is pretty dangerous, pretty big safety concern there. So the staff and subcommittee are recommending an all-way stop, as well as restriping to coincide with some of the pavement maintenance, some of the pavement rehabilitation that's scheduled to be performed this first quarter. And then the second area that we looked at was along Wolf Creek Drive, north and south. This is a residential neighborhood collector road that connects to Pachanga Parkway in 2 locations. We've been working on this one for several years. Over the last 5 years, traffic safety team has recommended, and City Council has already approved 3 all-way stops in the area at Wolf Creek and Fireside, Wolf Creek and Redwood and Loma Linda out by Gardner Middle. For the time being, for today, we're recommending 1 more all-way stop at Wolf Creek and Antelope, which is right in front of Temecula, this Lisenio Elementary. This intersection seems like the really obvious choice for the next location because of its proximity to the school and its use as a route to school. There are already unprotected crosswalks at that location, as well as a school crossing guard. And the addition of permanent signage will provide for better pedestrian safety there. And then one last note on that. When we talk about permanent stop signs, they truly are difficult to remove legally and procedurally once we place them. So we do want to be careful to get it right the first time. These aren't the only intersections that we looked at in these 2 areas. But staff and subcommittee were in agreement that we should proceed one at a time and measure the results. So I'll leave it at that unless Commissioner Hagel wanted to add.
Just to add a little bit on Serafina, where the proposed stop sign is going, would go, is right at the county line. So north of there is not a possibility. And the road is, Serafina itself is being repaved right now, or I'm not sure what exactly is going on, but it will be striped, and they are in the process of doing that like today, right now. So that decision had to be, has to be made very quickly. But that's also a large downhill, so speeds are very easy to pick up. And the road is, it is a standard, I forget how, 60-foot road or whatever, wide road, but it seems like a even wider road. So it's almost like asking people to speed. So there's definitely things that need to be done there. As far as the unprotected crosswalk in front of a elementary school, I think that's a really easy one to put a stop sign, and particularly in light of today.
That's in front of Lisenio,
Yes,
correct?
and particularly today in light of the fact that a lot of kids are coming to school on scooters, e-scooters, e-bikes, and whatever, where they don't always look to cross and everything. That I think it's a very important place to have a stop sign.
Okay, thank you, you guys. Appreciate that. Appreciate your work on that. I think something that I was asking today as far as the subcommittee, traffic subcommittee, that in the future, Ron, that possibility of having that report come to us, and then as a planning commission, we make that recommendation, not just the subcommittee.
Yeah, we could certainly do that. We left it up to the subcommittee to decide whether or not to bring it to the commission or to just directly go to council, since these 2 items always go to council since they are in our municipal code. Anytime a stop sign gets put in, the committee decided to just go ahead and recommend to take it to council.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so maybe in the future.
We'll go at the discretion of the subcommittee each
Okay,
time.
sounds good. All right, thank you. Matt?
Just a quick update on the general plan update. A couple of dates for you to keep in mind. Next week, Thursday, is the General Plan Advisory Committee meeting. They're going to be discussing land use, so they're going to be taking a look at the entire city and identifying areas that need further study in terms of looking at future zoning, future development. And those meetings are open to the public. If you can't make the meeting, you can still watch it on the channel via the website. So that's next Thursday at 6.
6, okay.
And then on the 24th at City Council, our consultant, De Novo, will be giving an update to the City Council. So If you want to watch that on TV or attend the meeting, feel free. But we just want to keep the updates coming to the Planning Commission, and that's what's happening in February. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Matt. All right, Ron, Public Works.
In Public Works, 2 announcements. Number 1, the skate park began being demolished. So if you go by Ronald Reagan, demo has begun. And so that'll be a year-long project for Public Works. The second thing is, as you mentioned, on the 17th of this month, there's going to be the ribbon cutting of the new Nicholas extension going all the way to Butterfield Stage Road. That was a condition of development for the Somers Bend community. So the developer was the one that did the construction. It's at their cost and everything, but it is a vital kind of segment of roadway for the city for connection purposes, and so we think it's going to be vital for the residents of Somers Bend to get out to Winchester Road, so we're looking forward to that. 17th at 11:30, we're going to have the ribbon cutting. Stu will be the first one on the road, and we'll have a taco truck, I think.
And then is the parking on Butterfield Stage for that, is what I read?
You can park on Butterfield Stage, but that would be quite a ways from the
So
event.
where is it actually going to be? the
It's
ribbon
going to
cutting?
be at Girasol, where the
Girasol.
curve used to be, Calle Girasol. So my suggestion would be to park, and there'll be people out there directing parking against Nicholas Road.
Coming
Yeah.
in Nicholas Road from the west going east
From Chaparral High School, yeah.
from Chaparral. Okay, if you're coming the other way,
You could go
Just
that
to
way as
Nicholas.
well, but
Okay.
yeah, we'll have it,
And
we'll
then
have
you'll
it
have people
closed.
there.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll have people.
sounds great. All right, any other questions for Ron? Or Public Works? Thank you, Ron. Anything else? Nope. All right, then unless there's nothing else, we're going to adjourn until March 4th at 10 a.m. right here. Don't miss it. You'll be in trouble. Bye.